Hello third years, this video is just to give you an introduction to your second task for your expressive unit. So by now you should have collected 3 photographs of your favourite things, okay? Things that you can find around the house that you love, okay? So the couple of examples that I gave, one of which was a games console, a tennis ball, a baseball bat. Okay, the photographs that you take should be clear and nice and defined images with quite a plain white or cream background if possible. But as long as the background's quite simple and not cluttered, that's the main thing. The other example I gave was a paintbrush, a pot of paint and a collection of books. Okay, so 1 photograph of 3 objects, 1 photograph for each, and that was your first task. Your second task is to do an investigation drawing. Okay, now an investigation drawing is basically just drawing what you see and putting it onto paper. Okay, so you're not changing it, you're just trying to observe and record. So I will show you here on the screen. I have got my examples, so I'm going to draw the games console. Okay, so just let me get this lined up. So the first thing I want to do when I'm drawing this is I might just sketch out roughly how big I want it to be. Now, if you've been in my class before, you will know that I quite like to break down shapes into much more simple geometric shapes. Okay, so if I'm looking at the games console, I'm going to start with this rectangle. Then you will notice that it doesn't actually come straight down, because that would be quite uncomfortable to hold. It would come down at an angle, like so, and make it symmetrical on both sides. So I can draw a line of symmetry in there if I want. So it comes down like that, then it comes up here and back down again. Okay, then up at the top, it's not a straight line, it actually comes down slightly and then goes up and then up again, nice and symmetrical. Okay, then after that we've got a little dip here and it goes up again and round, and then in here we've got the little Xbox sign. I'm just going to draw that in roughly just now. Okay, then down here it's got this little attachment, so I'm just going to draw that in. Again, try and make sure that it's nice and even with your line of symmetry, okay? And keep your lines nice and light. You'll see that my lines are very sketchy, nice and light, so that if I have to, I can just rub them out. Okay, so there I'm rubbing out my first rectangle that I used as a guide. Okay, but I'll do all that at the end altogether. And then in here, I'm going to start off with a circle first of all for some of the buttons, and then here again a little circle, and you can see there that I'm going round and round again so that I can find the lines that I think are most suitable. Then up here, that one's about there. Then we've got 2 small buttons, one round about here, one here, and then we've got the letters up here. So we've got Y, A, B, and X. Okay, and then lastly we've just got the little wire coming down. Now, depending on your photograph, you might not have as much detail as this, but try and get as much detail as you can. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. So now I'm going to rub out all my guidelines. Oh, actually there's one bit that I forgot about. There's a little kind of edge here that I'll just add in. And there we go. So now I'm going to rub out my guidelines. Because I was nice and light, it's quite easy to rub them out. Okay, now you can either add tone. So this one is going to be a tonal study, so I'll just add that up at the top here. Tonal study. Now, you will know from last year that a tonal study is basically just all the tones, so light and shadow, and try and include them wherever you see that, okay? So your light, medium and dark tones. Now, so this doesn't include colour, and in this one, the only bit of colour in there anyway is really the letters, okay? Now, what might help with this is the photographs that you've taken. If you change them to black and white and resave them, that can really help with this. But if you want to keep it the way it is, then that's absolutely fine. So for this, you can either use a pen or a pencil, whatever you've got at home really. So if you don't have any pencils left, or maybe they're really blunt and you don't have a sharpener, that's absolutely fine. You can use like a black pen, okay? And I will show you one side with pencil and one side with pen to give you a good idea. Okay, so starting off with pencil first. Actually, there's just a little bit more detail in here that I need to include. So looking at this area here and looking at the dark tones, they start off quite dark around this circle and then they get a wee bit lighter. And then they're quite dark around here and get a wee bit lighter. So I'm constantly flicking my eyes back and forth to the image and then to my drawing. And then in here, it's quite dark. Now, although this console is black, that doesn't mean to say that all the tones are going to be my darkest tone. You need to really look and see where the light hits it, see where the shadows are, in order to make it look 3D. Because remember, your dark tones make things look 3D. I need to sharpen this pencil, but I don't actually have a pencil sharpener with me at the moment. Okay, and then continue that round. Now, round here, there's a light source coming in this direction. Okay, so there's a little bit of a highlight round here. You can see that in the image just there. So there's a bit of a highlight coming round here and another one here. So we need to try and make sure that that's evident in our drawing. Okay, so it starts off quite dark around the edge and then it gets lighter around this section here. And you will see that my pencil lines are following the shape of the console. And then dark around here again. And then it's getting lighter. And then round here, it's a bit more medium tone. Okay, then up here we've got the little lever. And some dark tones in the middle there. And around the edge. Like so. Then round here it gets quite dark again. Okay, so you'll see that I'm doing it really quite slowly to make sure that I'm happy with it, okay? And if you feel like, for example, round here, you go in too heavy with your tone, then what to do is just take a rubber to it, especially if you've got a nice sharp edge. I don't, but if you've got a nice sharp edge around your rubber, you can reintroduce your highlights again. And then just tidy it up. Okay, so that's one side that I've started to include the tone. I'll just finish this little bit off and then I'll move on to the example with the pen. So you'll see there that although the console is black in reality, the colour black, in my drawing, I have got quite a big variety of tones to make it look 3D. Okay? Right, next up, if you're using pen, you can use any type of pen, just try and make sure it's black or even dark blue would be fine. And now with pen, you obviously can't shade, so instead of shading, what we're going to do instead is cross hatching. Okay, so one way and then the other. And the closer together your lines are, the darker the tone. Okay? So you can see the difference. That's a sort of medium tone, that's a dark tone, and we'll do a really light tone here with lines that are really quite far apart. Okay, so looking at this side here, I'm going to start to include my dark tones, but still follow the shape of the console. Okay. Go around these as well. So remember, you can pick either the pen or the pencil. I don't mind which one you want to do because both will be a tonal study. Okay, and then again, down here, I'm just going to outline it. And we've got that highlight round here again, just like this side here. So to do this, I'm going to follow the shape of the console and do quite close together cross hatching. But make sure that I leave that gap for the highlight. And then it starts to get darker again around here. So just continuing on your cross hatching. Okay, and then round here we've got some dark tones, and here we've definitely got some dark tones. Now don't worry if you make a mistake, okay? This is to build up your skills to make sure that you're ready to do more of these drawings when we return, okay? So keep building that up with your cross hatching. So you can see there the difference between the tonal shading with the pencil and the cross hatching with the pen. I don't mind which one you want to go for, as long as you give it a go, okay? You observe and you record. It's a simple investigation drawing. If you have any questions at all, just let me know, okay?